There's a very strong discussion online about Amy Jo Johnson not returning to Power Rangers, and I already did a video on that. But the thing I find really strange about a lot of these people is that they tend to take out this anger or frustration on Catherine Sutherland, who plays Kat. I got one comment from a guy that said, "Are we seriously honoring someone who is only in 8 episodes of Power Rangers as the Pink Ranger?" Come on, that to me is really disrespectful for the fact that Catherine has been such a big part of this franchise. And let's be 100% honest here. If any single one of us Power Ranger fans had the option of going to New Zealand and recording one episode where we got to morph into a Power Ranger, we would claim I'm a Power Ranger the rest of our lives. I would. I've said it before, and I'd say it again. I would love that. I would love to be considered a Power Ranger. And this argument has been around for a long time with the people who played the young versions of the Power Rangers when the Alien Rangers came. People claiming that they're not real Rangers and yada, yada, yada. I don't find why we need to say they're not real Rangers. They got to play them. They got to do it. And good for them. I'm happy for them. I don't know why people have to be sour about it. Now, Catherine was a large part of Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She was being set up to be the next Pink Ranger for 9 episodes, and then was the Pink Ranger for 15 episodes, and got to do things that Kimberly never did, like drive the Shark Cycle, use the metallic armor, and be in the Shogun Zord. Which means that she was in 24 out of 43 episodes, which means she was in more than half of the episodes of Season 3. After Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, of course, she was in all 50 episodes of Power Rangers Zeo. She was in the Turbo movie, and then also did 19 episodes in Power Rangers Turbo. Another criticism about Amy Jo Johnson is that she's never returned to the franchise. There's a lot of people who find this to be, for some reason, disrespectful or annoying to them. I don't know. But if you're going to say you're annoyed with Amy Jo Johnson, then you can't be annoyed with Catherine Sutherland, because she's returned several times, not just to play Catherine Hillard, but she also voiced Tesla in Forever Red. She's actually done a lot of behind the scenes work, doing uncredited voices for background work and different things like that over the years. Of course, she did finally make an appearance again in Dimensions in Danger for Ninja Steel. But not only that, she's gone beyond Hasbro or Saban, and she's appeared in the fan-filmed Power Rangers Shattered Past, as well as being a part of The Order, which is a fan film that hopefully someday will get made, that features a ton of Power Ranger actors and actresses. But overall, in canon, this brings Catherine Sutherland to be in 96 episodes of Power Rangers. If you only want to count the episodes she was a Pink Ranger, that would be 86 episodes, which, come on, that deserves a lot of credit in the Power Ranger community. I mean, there's a lot of people who only are on Power Rangers for 40 episodes or 35 episodes. So the first factor I would say is, has she served the time? Yeah, she's served the time. She's been a Pink Ranger for a long time. But people still have this mentality of the "you're not my real mom" mentality. Let's pump the brakes for a second and talk about headcanons, because I get this comment a ton where people are talking about, well, in my head canon, this is what happens. And it's always, in my head canon, Kimberly and Tommy are still together. But a head canon doesn't mean that's canon in the show, and it doesn't mean that that's what actually happened. If you want to think of a world where they're still together, good for you. That's up to you. That's fine. Are they together in the actual live action show? No. And that's been proven many, many times throughout the show's history. Going to her most recent appearance, she was in Ninja Steel. Even though they didn't get through a lot of this sort of dialogue put on screen, the writers have confirmed that JJ is Tommy and Catherine's son. They both live at their home in Reefside with their son JJ. Now, even in the Boom comics, they have Soul the Dragon, which is a great comic about Tommy being old. They also again confirm that Catherine is married to him in that canon. And ultimately, we had a flash forward in Power Rangers Zeo during their Christmas episode where we saw Catherine and Tommy with their 2 grandsons. And there's a lot of people who jump on the comment section and say that's not canon, that was a dream sequence. No, it was not. It is confirmed that that was indeed a flash forward to the future, and that is indeed canon with the show. Another way people try to debunk this is saying that, well, she wasn't in Dino Thunder. Where was she? I've actually seen an interview where they were trying to get her on the show. They were thinking that she might turn evil in Dino Thunder and basically be the Elsa character, but still be Tommy's wife. And that never ended up happening. So I'm not going to say that that's canon or that has any weight, but it is interesting that they were thinking about doing that. It would be interesting if they had some sort of explanation for where she was during that time. I doubt they're probably going to address that in the 30th anniversary because there is so much to unpack as it is. It'd be fun to see them talk about that later on, maybe explain where she was, what she was doing. Catherine has gone on to be a teacher. She's a very, very caring person. You know, Kimberly was very much a valley girl, but Catherine was very different. There's a lot of people who act like she's very bland, but I don't see her as bland at all. She was very motherly-like, and you see that when she was with Justin in Turbo. She really treated him like her son. That may be good or bad, depending on how you want to look at the dynamics of a Ranger team, but it does show her character very clearly. She took care of her team quite a bit as being kind of an active mother for all of them. And honestly, I think this is a great reason why Tommy would want to be with Catherine. I think that they make a really good couple. Catherine is very supportive of Tommy. You can see that in Turbo when he starts doing the racing stuff, that she supports him. Wishes he was around more, but she knows that it's what he needs and she's happy for him. There's also some people who try to say that Catherine stole him away from Kimberly. That's not true at all. Kimberly sent him a Dear John letter. They broke up, and several episodes later, it comes out that Catherine does have feelings for him, and she didn't try to jump on top of him the moment he was available, but they sort of work out this relationship. Tommy still is dealing with, you know, this breakup, but they eventually get together and obviously stay together. I've seen some people try to pull out the she's not a good Ranger, Kimberly was a way better fighter, or all that stuff. Now, Kimberly was definitely athletic. She was a gymnast. I get that. But Catherine is extremely exceptional when it comes to athletics. She was already a competitor in the Pan Global Games, which is what Kimberly left the show to start training for, to hopefully make it someday into the Pan Global Games. We've never heard whether or not she did, but we know that Catherine did compete, and she suffered an injury from the Pan Global Games, but she was at such a level, and I tell you, no matter what sport you do or anything like that, if you are that focused and that strong of a person mentally to be able to get into that mindset, that means Catherine is definitely someone who could learn very fast when it comes to martial arts or anything like that, because she has great willpower. That is downplayed, I think, over time because she's such a humble person, but you can't ignore the fact that she's an amazing athlete. And that competitive nature and that ability is shown through when she starts doing ballet, because she's not a super well-trained person. She's sort of taught herself in the world of dance, but she shows a lot of promise, and she's already being recognized by really top-notch places that want to have her as a ballerina. Also, I think it's worth mentioning in her personality, just in general, that her and Tanya's relationship is probably one of the most genuine ones in Power Ranger history between two female characters. They just have a really great rapport, and I mean, part of that is because her and Nakia are actually like best friends in real life, and that was developing over this time, but they have a lot of great moments in different scenes that is just fun. They get to do a little more comedic things than I think Kimberly ever really got to do. Kimberly and like Aisha never really got to be funny. You know, they just kind of would look at Bulk and Skull and say, really, you guys are ridiculous, or kind of give judgmental looks. But, you know, Kat and Tanya were a really fun duo. I think a lot of people forget how fun they were. And of course, some of the nastiest comments are people jumping on how Amy Jo Johnson doesn't even care about the fandom. She's never done anything for the fandom. I already talked about that in the other video. Jumping into what Catherine Sutherland is doing, you cannot for 1 second say she doesn't care about the fandom. She has done so much. She does this show called Super Chat with Nakia Burrise, where they talk about Power Rangers, they interview Power Rangers, they do tons and tons of stuff. A lot of the content is on YouTube, and you can watch it for free. They also have a Patreon, which if you really want to get in depth with what they do and see a lot more content, you can do their Patreon. They are so kind. If you watch any of their videos, you can see how much fun they have together, and they talk about a lot of things like the moment that they found out they weren't going to be on Turbo anymore and things like that, but they really do connect with their fans a lot. And you can also see that through how many cons Catherine does. She does a lot. She does a lot of cons and conventions to meet fans and do stuff for fans. So I really don't think anybody can sit here and say, oh, she doesn't care about the fandom, because she definitely has shown it. In the 30th special, of course, the one kind of main critique or issue storyline wise is that she's using the pterodactyl coin, which she never actually had. I know that this is probably just going to be the fact that they've remade the powers, and that, you know, she has some access to the Pink Ranger power, which even though that was with the Crane Zord, they're going to probably just say, well, here's the pterodactyl. I don't know if they're going to have her say a line like, oh, I haven't gotten to drive this one before, or this is a little different. I don't know if they're going to do that. Probably not. Again, there's a lot to pack into 55 minutes of this special, so it'll be interesting if they do talk about it or just address it, but I have a feeling they probably won't. Ultimately, we really should be grateful as fans that she's returning. I mean, she's incredible to the fandom. She loves the fandom. She's willing to come back. She's already come back as it is, and she's going to hold up this Pink Ranger mantle with a lot of class. She always does it with a lot of class. Like I stated before, it's sad because she didn't really want to leave Power Rangers originally. They found out that they were doing casting calls for a new set of Rangers, and that's when her and the rest of the team found out that they were officially going to be pushed out. It's sad that, especially with people making these criticisms or saying they don't want her, she's been so supportive of Power Rangers for so long. We should be really celebrating her return. And I hear all the time the comments about how Tommy and Kim should still be together. All I can really compare this to is the band Van Halen. What are you talking about? Why are you bringing this up? But the fact is, Van Halen has gone through many phases. They've had different lead singers. They had David Lee Roth at the beginning, and there's a lot of people, if they were into Van Halen when David Lee Roth was there, they just say, oh, everything after David Lee Roth sucks. But you can't deny the fact that when Sammy Hagar came in, the next singer, he started writing these great songs, and they started getting hits on the radio, and they were way more popular. They had way more hits. They started getting much bigger as a band because they had great music. Now, Catherine definitely has done a lot for Power Rangers. One of the facts about Catherine is that she is the Pink Ranger who has had the most suits. She's gone through the most powers. Mighty Morphin, Ninjetti, the metallic armor, if you want to count that, Zeo, and Turbo. She has had way more than any other Pink Ranger in history. She's a great female role model to any kid who's watching this show. She's always out trying to help the environment, help people, being a very kind human being. She deserves way more praise than she gets, and I can say it a bunch of times, and as many of the people out there who want to put down the hashtag she's not my Pink Ranger sort of thing, can you please just stop that? I know you like Kimberly, I get it, but you know, there's tons and tons of Rangers throughout history. She's an awesome Pink Ranger, and she's done so much, and she continues to be a part of the fandom, like everybody keeps saying that Amy Jo Johnson should be, and she's doing it. So I know that's probably a very small percentage of the fandom is saying Catherine Sutherland shouldn't be allowed to be in the 30th anniversary special, but Amy Jo Johnson is a real B for not coming in and being more supportive of the fandom. I don't think those are all the same people. Maybe a small percentage does both of that, but you know, Catherine's great, and we're going to have a lot of fun. She's going to do a great job in the 30th anniversary special. All you need to do is go watch any interview she's ever done on YouTube, because she is so sweet. She's so kind. She's so supportive of the fandom. She has a great Christian faith, which if that's not your thing, that's okay. But, you know, she's just such a kind person, and she really expresses that through the way she talks to everybody. She's gone on to write several children's books, which is really cool. I mean, are you guys excited for her being in the 30th anniversary? Because I am. I think she's going to do great. I appreciate that she's coming back. I do not for one second go, man, I wish she wasn't in it. I wish Kimberly was in it. No. You know, we get somebody who's coming back. She's willing to come back. She wants to come back. Great. I want her to come back. I want to see everybody there who is having fun doing Power Rangers again. The first actual appearance of Catherine in Power Rangers was actually in I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, but only in the VHS version. And if you watch my video on that, you will see why it was such a weird mess and it didn't work with the storyline at all. But there's a lot of things about that special that are kind of strange. So if you haven't checked that video out, highly encourage you to, because it's a fun one. Thank you guys. Have a great one. See you later. Bye bye bye. Bye 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 bye.